Iran's crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, declares the Islamic Republic is collapsing and its end has come. The Islamic Republic has come to its end and is collapsing. What has begun is irreversible. The future is bright, and together we will navigate the sharp turn in history. I'm not really sure what he means by this. Is this kind of like all of the fucking terrorist fighters have fled to Europe, and so we're gonna be safe in the sandbox now? Is that what he's talking about? Like, they're gonna go make their caliphate somewhere else. We can finally rebuild our countries. All right. My fellow countrymen, Islamic Republic has reached its end and is in the process of collapsing. Khamenei? I get caught up on their names. Khamenei. Like a frightened rat, has gone into hiding underground and has lost control of the situation. What has begun is irreversible. The future is bright, and together we will pass through this sharp turn in history. In these difficult days, my heart is with all the defenseless citizens who have been harmed and have fallen victim to Khamenei's warmongering and delusions. For years, I have tried to prevent our homeland from being consumed by the fire of war. To the end of the Islamic Republic is the end of its 46-year war against the Iranian nation. The regime's apparatus of repression is falling apart. All it takes now is a nationwide uprising to put an end to this nightmare once and for all. Now is the time to rise, the time to reclaim Iran. Let us all come forward, from Bandar Abbas to Bandar Anzali, from Shiraz to the names. And bring about the end of this regime. Do not fear the day after the fall of the Islamic Republic. Iran will not descend into civil war or instability. We have a plan for Iran's future and its flourishing. We are prepared for the first 100 days after the fall, for the transitional period, and for the establishment of a national and democratic government by the Iranian people and for the Iranian people. To the military, law enforcement, security forces, and state employees, many of whom have been sending me messages in recent days, I say, do not stand against the Iranian people for the sake of a regime whose fall has begun and is inevitable. Do not sacrifice yourselves for a decaying regime. By standing with the people, you can save your lives. Play a historic role in the transition from the Islamic Republic and take part in building the future of Iran. A free and flourishing Iran lies ahead of us. May we be together soon. Long live Iran. Long live the Iranian nation. So that was like an inspiring speech, right? Like if I was Iranian and that guy was talking to me, I'd be like, yeah, I could feel this. On a scale of 1 to 10, are we fucked or super duper fucked? Before the 70s, Iran was one of the most progressive Middle Eastern nations. Yeah, I've seen some of the pre Iran or Islamic takeover of Iran. I was like, what? Which I word? Not happening. The crushing majority is Muslim. The country is perpetually fucked into being an Islamic theocracy. I don't know. He seems pretty hopeful somehow. Justin Icehole, thank you. Old Prince, no one knows. We found our puppet. Yeah. Halfway through that speech, when he's like, it's going to be a free and democratic republic, I was like, all right, so which three-letter agency from the United States handpicked this guy? So we got this BBC News article. What we know about the attack on 2 Minnesota lawmakers. On Saturday, 2 state lawmakers from Minnesota were gunned down in their homes in what Governor Tim Walz called a politically motivated assassination attempt. Well, it's not It's not really an attempt if it succeeded, right? It's just a politically motivated assassination at that point, right? The attacks left one politician dead and another seriously injured. The suspect, Vance Luther Bolther, what a name, was taken into custody in rural Woodland after a day-long manhunt. He's been charged with multiple counts of murder at the state and federal level. During a press conference on Monday, officials said that Mr. Bolter allegedly also attempted to kill 2 other state lawmakers on Saturday. Man, he had a fucking grocery list. State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were shot and killed in their home, the governor said. She had served in the Minnesota House of Representatives for 20 years and was Speaker of the Chamber from 2019 to 2025. Under her tenure, Minnesota Democrats passed a variety of liberal legislation that included the expansion of abortion rights and legalization of recreational marijuana. She was also known for working across the aisle. In one of her final votes before the attack, she sided with Republicans to support a bill provision that would make the state's undocumented population ineligible for the state's low-income health care program. So she was like an actual bipartisan, decent human being. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were also shot multiple times and injured, but survived. That's kind of nuts. So this guy shot the Hortmans and the Hoffmans. What are the odds? During the shooting, Yvette Hoffman threw herself on their adult daughter, Hope Hoffman. You can't. Imagine being a woman and you have the initials HH. The amount of Hulk Hogan jokes people would make at you throughout your entire life. I feel so bad for that girl. Hope Hoffman, to shield her from the bullets, a relative had said. Another surviving the hail of bullets that wounded her parents, Hope Hoffman, then called local authorities who rushed to the scene and saved her parents' lives. Both lawmakers who were shot are Democrats. Mrs. Hoffman shared a statement on social media after the incident saying she and her husband were incredibly lucky to be alive after they were hit by a combined total of 17 bullets. God damn! They must have participated in the shoot themselves with smaller bullets to build up a resistance to larger bullets program a few years ago. That's crazy. They're literally 50 Cent now. John is enduring many surgeries right now and is closer every hour to being out of the woods, Mrs. Hoffman wrote. She also expressed sympathy for the loss of her colleagues in the State House. We're gutted and devastated by the loss of Melissa and Mark. We have no words, and there's never a place for this kind of political hate, she wrote. And she's completely right about that. They haven't told us anything about the shooter yet, but like, this guy has got to be an actual mental case. What a coincidence. The only 2 Democrats who voted with Republicans to prevent illegals from getting benefits got targeted. I know. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Imagine voting off the plantation and then getting shot several days later. Jesus Christ. Law enforcement has confirmed the attacks occurred in the early hours of Saturday in the cities of Brooklyn Park and Chaplin, Minnesota. Drew Evans, superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, said police received a call at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. at 2 local time about an incident at Hoffman's house in Champlin. So that must be 2 a.m., I'd imagine. Another call to police came in at 3:35 when officers were checking on Hortman's home nearby in Brooklyn Park. Police discovered what looked like an emergency vehicle parked at the home with emergency lights flashing. Coming out of the home was someone resembling a police officer who immediately opened fire on officers, darted back into the house, and then escaped on foot. Mark Bruley, chief of Brooklyn Park Police, said the suspect was wearing a vest with a taser, other equipment, and a badge, posing as law enforcement in order to manipulate their way into the home. This is like something that you hear of happening in the movies, but you don't ever think of happening in real life. But like, I don't think even I would be able to tell if someone was like pretending to be a police officer and came to my door, right? Like I would have to be on like 10 levels of paranoia to be like, yeah, actually, I'm gonna call the police station before I open this door for you, you know? In between Mr. Bolter's alleged attack at the Hoffman residence and the shooting at the Hortman residence, he visited the homes of 2 other state lawmakers allegedly targeting them, U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson said on Monday. One of those lawmakers identified herself as one of the targets. I've been made aware that the shooting suspect was parked near my home early Saturday morning. Minnesota State Senator Ann Rest said in a statement on Monday, I'm so grateful for the heroic work of the New Hope Police Department and its officers. Their quick action saved my life. The attacks drew condemnation from across the political spectrum. President Donald Trump said such horrific violence will not be tolerated. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, a Minnesota Democrat, called it an attack on everything we stand for as a democracy. Police identified the suspect as 57-year-old Mr. Bolter. They did not give details on a possible motive. A former political appointee, Mr. Bolter was once a member of the same state workforce development board as Hoffman. We don't know the nature of the relationship or if they actually knew each other, said Evans. Investigators reportedly found a list of 70 targets. That's a lot. Including the names of state Democratic politicians and a vehicle the suspect drove for the assassination. Waltz, Congressman Ilhan Omar, Minnesota's 2 U.S. Senators, Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith, and state Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison were on the hit list, according to local media. I got a question. Wasn't it a Minnesota fucking politician that was also, like, targeted for a kidnapping plot that the CIA cooked up? What is it with Minnesota politicians and always being the targets? He's looking to take out everybody. Yeah, this guy just fucking crazy. It was it was Michigan governor. Okay. Gretchen Whitmer. That was her name, chat. Thank you. Michigan. Yeah. Locations for Planned Parenthood were also on the list. A person familiar with the investigation told Minnesota Star Tribune. Superintendent Evans told reporters he would not describe the notebook found in the car as a manifesto, as it was not a treatise on all kinds of ideology and writings. Well, what else would you call it then? Mr. Bolter is a security contractor and religious missionary who has worked in Africa and the Middle East, according to an online CV. He once preached as a pastor at a church in the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to Facebook photos. He had traveled often to the nation, indicate posts from his LinkedIn account. An online video from 2 years ago seemed to show him addressing a congregation, adding that he has a wife and 5 children. He had also worked back in Minnesota for a major food distributor, a convenience store chain, and for 2 funeral service businesses, according to his online profile. According to local TV affiliate KTTC, Mr. Bolter's only criminal history in Minnesota was for traffic tickets, including speeding and parking violations. Even I don't have those! He texted a troubling message to friends at a Minneapolis residence where he had rented a room and would stay 1 or 2 nights a week, the Minnesota Star Tribune reports. Mr. Bolter said, "I'm going to be gone for a while, maybe dead shortly, so I just want to let you know I love you guys both and I wish it hadn't gone this way." What did he mean by this? Like, why did he feel like he had to do this? That's fucking weird, man. That glows, yeah, right? On Sunday night, police said they found Mr. Bolter after receiving information that he was seen in the area of Green Isle, a village not far from his home. Officers called the 2-day search the longest manhunt in the state's history, with multiple law enforcement agencies working together to find him. Mr. Bolter was arrested in a rural area with mostly farmland, fields, and small woods, and taken into custody without any use of force or injury to police. Police said he was armed when he was arrested, but did not provide further information on the type of weapons present. Superintendent Evans said Mr. Bolter's arrest brought a sense of relief to communities and lawmakers who were the suspect's list of targets. He also said law enforcement believed the suspect acted alone and was not part of a broader network. Authorities also condemned Mr. Bolter's impersonation of a police officer while carrying out the attacks, saying he exploited the trust our uniforms are meant to represent. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also followed with a plea for civility, urging people to shake hands and find common ground. One man's unthinkable actions have altered the state of Minnesota. This cannot be the norm. It cannot be the way that we deal with our political differences. Prior to Mr. Bolter's arrest, his wife was detained in a traffic stop along with 3 relatives in a car in the city of Onamia, more than 100 miles from the family home, on Saturday morning, but released after questioning. So they don't say that she was found with $10,000 cash or firearms, but that is still really weird. Still really fucking weird. Mr. Bolter has been charged at both the state and federal level. Officials said on Monday that the suspect faces 6 federal charges, some of which could lead to the death penalty. At the federal level, he faces 2 counts of stalking, 2 counts of murder, and 2 firearms-related charges. Separately, at the state level, he is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder at the state level. At a brief court appearance on Monday, Mr. Bolter said he couldn't afford a lawyer and would have a federal defense lawyer. His next court appearance is scheduled for later this month. Good lord. And then I had another article here that was released somewhat more recently, almost a day ago. I wonder if there's any more information here that we didn't get from that first article. He appeared in court Monday to face 6 federal charges. All right. While he was preparing for a larger scale attack, could face the death penalty. At the brief hearing, Mr. Bolter said he had 7 cars, $20,000 to $30,000 in savings, and made about $540 per week. That feels kind of low. That feels kind of low, right? $540 a week for like this kind of politician guy? What happened? At a press conference on the same day, officials talked through what happened in the early hours of Saturday morning in the suburbs of Minneapolis. They describe how the Hortmans were killed, and John Hoffman, a Minnesota state senator, and his wife, Yvette Hoffman, were shot multiple times in a separate attack. Officials also announced the charges against Mr. Bolter. Separately at the state level, the other charges... Thompson said Mr. Bolter arrived at the Hoffman home disguised as a police officer in a large black car with emergency lights on the vehicle. Mr. Bolter was wearing a hyper-realistic silicone mask when he rang the doorbell and shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Thompson said authorities have a clear picture of what happened because the Hoffmans have a security camera outside the front door. Well, that's very useful. When the Hoffmans opened the door, Mr. Bolter shone a flashlight at the couple. Mr. Bolter told the couple there was a shooting reported in the house and lowered his flashlight. The couple then realized he was not a police officer. After they attempted to push him out, he allegedly fired at the couple multiple times and then fled the scene. The couple's daughter, Hope, called 911. He fired at the couple multiple times. Didn't they say they were hit by like 14 fucking bullets or some shit? Like, that's crazy. That he was able to get off that many bullets that fucking quickly. 17? That's nuts. Yvette Hoffman was shot 8 times and John Hoffman 9 times. Speaking on Saturday after Mr. Bolter's arrest, State Governor Tim Walz said, "The latest news is Senator Hoffman came out of his final surgery and is moving towards recovery." That's I'm really glad that they survived, because that is insane. That is insane, but like, that recovery is gonna be fucking rough, because that's a lot of bullets, man. After allegedly shooting the Hoffmans, Mr. Bolter drove to another state representative's home and rang the doorbell there. That state representative was not at home, Thompson said, noting that she and her family were on vacation. Authorities did not reveal her name, which I think she did reveal her name in that other article we read, but I've already forgotten it. He then drove to a third lawmaker's home, targeting them as well. Officials did not reveal the name of that state lawmaker either. After the press conference, Minnesota State Senator Ann Rest released a statement saying the suspect had been parked near her home on Saturday morning. That was a lady. We already read her quote. At one point, an officer pulled up next to Mr. Bolter in his vehicle. The officer assumed that Mr. Bolter was a police officer himself who had been dispatched to the scene to check on one of the lawmakers. When the officer asked Mr. Bolter what he was doing, he simply stared straight ahead. Mr. Bolter went on to the residence of a fourth lawmaker belonging to Melissa Hortman and her husband before carrying out another attack there. He is accused of arriving at the Hortman home and allegedly shooting and killing the couple. Police said they found him at that residence and engaged fire before Mr. Bolter fled. After he fled, officers embarked on a 2-day search for Mr. Bolter before finding him late Sunday night in a wooded rural area west of Minneapolis. He surrendered peacefully, eventually crawling towards police officers. See, this makes it kind of suspicious as well. The first couple he pulled up to, he only shot. He didn't ensure that they were killed. And then he went to a couple of other lawmakers' homes who weren't home at the time. They were on vacation. Finally arriving at the intended targets to actually kill them, and police just happened to show up at this one to apprehend him, so he can't go to any more houses. I'm just saying, it's a little weird to me. It's a little weird. Thompson said Mr. Bolter had planned his attack carefully. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes, he said of the suspect. Well, he didn't do a very good job of surveillance if he literally drove to places and people were on vacation. Like, I mean, it's a good thing they were on vacation. I don't want to see more people hurt, but like, he was obviously very bad at his reconnaissance. When they found Mr. Bolter's car, officials discovered 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles, large quantities of ammunition, as well as a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Melissa Hortman. Mark Bruley, police chief from Brooklyn Park, said the officers who arrived at the Hortman home foiled a larger plan. They essentially took Mr. Bolter's vehicle away from him, which involved all his maps, names, and weaponry. I would be very scared what it would look like over the next few hours ahead had we not done that. It's a chilling attack on our democracy, on our way of life, Thompson said at the Monday press conference. It's only the most recent example of violent political extremism in this country, and that's a trend that's been increasing over in recent years, and that's unfortunate. I hope it's a wake-up call to everyone that the people can disagree with you without being evil or needing to be killed or hurt. Yeah, it would be great if we could disagree with people without thinking that they are deserving of losing their jobs or lives. That'd be wonderful. Oh yes, get the 2 Dems who broke party lines, but everyone else wasn't home. Yeah, it's very suspicious, man. The 2 Democrats that broke party lines were the ones that he succeeded in actually murdering. It's no wonder that the party that continuously advocates for violence and destruction continuously has this happen. Also, why are they blaming the right for this? I haven't seen many people blaming the right, but I'm sure there are some because it was Democrats who were killed. But I don't see any reason to believe that this guy was on the right, considering he worked as a Democratic staffer and he was appointed by Tim Walz at one point. Imagine showing up at the 4th of July with no king since 1776 shirt. Oh my god. The left is literally eating itself like Ouroboros. It has been for like the last decade. If you take one step off the plantation, they basically deperson you. It's like, look at what they tried to do to J.K. Rowling just because she wasn't on board with all of the, like, self-ID trans stuff, right? Like, she never even said anything insane. She was just like, biological reality is immutable, and I can have respect for trans people without, you know, saying that they are real women because they are not. And they were just like, well, you're persona non grata. You're literally evil turf woman who deserves to die. Like, she took one little pinky toe off the plantation. But she has fuck you money, so. And JK is a straight up misandrist, and that's not good enough. Saying our democracy is a massive red flag. Yeah, the our democracy sends off little bells in my head. And then there was this picture of him at one of the houses with the silicone mask on. It really doesn't look that good, but I guess if he's shining a flashlight in your eyes, you're not going to be able to see very well. This is him at the door. His police vehicle just had police on the license plate. Oh, what is this? An image included in federal probable cause for arrest affidavit shows an image from law enforcement footage depicting Vance outside the Hortman home. Okay, that's Vance at the door, I guess. That's an interesting angle. Images of the SUV, more images of firearms. An image included pages from Vance's notebook. This in Lelius, I don't know what that is. BenVerified.com, OwnEarly.com, address needed, US search, neighbor who address needed, people finders, people looker, Spokio. Brother, if you're going to do this, why would you write these down? Why would you write these down? Finding people, Shrew people search, Truth Finder, 3 days free. White pages, need name, phone, address, not free Spokio, not free people. What the fuck? This keeps glowing. Who writes this down in, like, ink on paper? This is so fucking weird. Weird little gun here. Beretta 92 here. Another... This one looks kind of weird. It's like long gun. Components recovered. Mask recovered. Cowboy hat. Security footage from a U.S. bank in Robbinsdale, where Vance withdrew $2,200. This guy glows any brighter, we could power the entire eastern seaboard with the power output. He looks like a big fucking guy, man. An image included is showing the locations of Vance Boltler activity. Possible sighting Boltler residence. Buick recovered. Oh, he lives near them too. That's crazy. Law enforcement drone approaching his abandoned Buick. He owned a security company, no? If he owned... I mean, it doesn't say that he owned a security company in here, so I have no idea. But if he did, then that makes him writing down all of this shit even fucking weirder. Because, like, if he owned a security company, wouldn't he have clearance to use LexisNexis? So why would he have to use any of the, like, shit that us civilians did, you know? That wouldn't make any sense. He was a security contractor. That's some bad OPSEC. That is really bad OPSEC, man. You sure he used a Glock with a switch or Beretta 93 that can mag dump? Yeah, he had... There's pictures of Berettas that were in here. LexisNexis mentioned you hate their IT support. Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. So, I think the last thing I had on this fucking guy... this is like 33 minutes, so I don't think we'll watch the whole thing, but there's gotta be some relevant parts in here.
Now, breaking news from Care 11.
Against Vance Luther Belter for his horrific attack on our state and our elected representatives. Political assassinations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. But the details about...
They're very rare, he says, after we've just had a year of a lot of attempts.
There's crime, or even worse. They are truly chilling. It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Belter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held himself out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood. Now, there's been a lot of information and misinformation out there about Belter's crimes. We have filed a detailed 20-page complaint and affidavit that sets forth what happened in this case. I'd like to share some of that information with you now. In the early morning hours of June 14th, Belter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians with the intent to kill them. Belter first traveled to the home of Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin, Minnesota. Belter arrived at the senator's home disguised as a police officer. He arrived in a black SUV with emergency lights turned on and with a license plate that read police. Belter wore a black tactical vest and body armor. He carried a flashlight and a Beretta 9mm handgun. He also wore a hyper-realistic silicone mask. Senator Hoffman had a security camera. I've seen the footage from that camera, and it is chilling. Belter knocked on Senator Hoffman's front door and repeatedly shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Senator Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, came to the door. When they opened the door, Belter shined the flashlight in their faces and said there had been a shooting reported in the house. Belter asked if they had any weapons. When Belter lowered his flashlight, which he had shined in their face, they realized that he was not a police officer. They shouted out, "You're not a cop. You're not a police officer." Belter then announced, "This is a robbery," and forced himself into their home. When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Belter out...
Okay. Sorry, that's a really goofy thing to just scream, where they're just like, "You're not a cop," and then he's like, "This is a robbery now." It's like, what kind of movie are we watching? What is this? A scene straight out of Strangers.
And stop him from entering his home, Belter shot him repeatedly. Belter then shot Miss Hoffman repeatedly. Belter fled the scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans survived, although they remained hospitalized. After shooting Senator Hoffman and his wife, Belter traveled to the home of another Minnesota state representative in Maple Grove, Minnesota. Video surveillance showed that Belter rang the doorbell at the state representative's house at approximately 2:24 a.m. on Friday night. Again, he was dressed as a law enforcement officer, wearing a tactical vest and body armor, carrying a handgun and a flashlight, and wearing that same hyper-realistic silicone mask. Again, the images, as you can see on the screen, are haunting. Unfortunately, the state representative
zooms in and we see nothing.
We're gone on vacation, and so Belter left. Belter then traveled to the home of a Minnesota state senator who lived in New Hope, Minnesota. He parked in the street in that same black SUV with the police license plate. At about 2:36 a.m. on Friday night, after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman, New Hope police dispatched an officer to conduct a wellness check on the state senator who lived in New Hope. When the New Hope officer arrived at the scene, she saw Belter's black SUV parked down the block.
Smart officer.
On. The New Hope police officer believed that Belter was a police officer who had been dispatched to the scene to check on the status of the state senator.
Not smart
officer. The New Hope
officer.
police officer pulled up next to Belter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Belter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead. So the New Hope police officer, who had been dispatched to the scene, proceeded to the state senator's home.
What? Why wouldn't she call that in? That's weird.
When they did, by the time they did, Belter had left the scene.
And this is why women shouldn't be police officers.
Belter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Belter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing, as if he was a police officer. Belter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor.
What the fuck is a woman gonna do against this big-ass guy? I don't know. I'm a woman police officer, and I pulled up next to what I perceive as another police officer, and I assumed he was doing the same thing I was. So then I asked him, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he didn't respond to me. He just kept staring forward and acted like he didn't hear me. And I didn't think that was weird at all, so I just kept going on to the place I was going to, instead of calling in someone acting suspicious as a police officer. Wow. Shoot him, probably. I believe she's armed. Literally, you could just call that in and be like, "Hey, I contacted another officer. I pulled up beside him. I didn't recognize him. I tried to initiate conversation, and he didn't respond. He was acting very strangely. Could I get some information, possibly? You know, they all should know each other. They're constantly on radio with each other. Should have stopped him and verified his badge info. I don't know if stopping him would have been the correct thing to do, because he had already attempted to kill 2 people. You shouldn't engage someone one-on-one like that, and especially being a woman, I don't think she would have succeeded if she had stopped him. But at the bare minimum, fucking call that shit in. At the bare fucking minimum. And especially if he's acting suspiciously, and for some reason your woman brain hasn't caught up to the situation yet, and you expect he's doing the same thing as you, and so he's going to be going to the same house as you. That would be even more of a reason to call it in and be like, "Hey, there was a police officer acting suspiciously. I might need backup on this wellness check." Right? Get info from dispatch is the proper response. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just to cap him, order him on the ground. He refuses to plug him. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you could have asked dispatch if there was another officer in the area. They track the locations of all on-duty cop vehicles. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How dare you? A woman can die just as easily as a man can. What do you mean by this? How bad are you that you can't recognize the guy as a fake cop? I mean, yeah, also a fair point.
Ballistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched to check on Representative Portman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Belter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Belter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Belter saw the officers get out of the car...
You can't blame her if everything seemed normal. Sir, especially after all officers have been notified that there was a shooting at a state lawmaker's home, it is not normal to pull up beside another police officer, ask what that police officer is doing, and have that police officer ignore you. That is not normal. Even if we remove the context of all of them having known about the shooting, it's still not normal for an officer to ask another officer what they're doing, and that officer stares straight ahead and ignores them entirely. That is abnormal. That is abnormal, sir. Wearing an obvious fucking latex mask. The cops couldn't catch him because they were busy sanitizing their hands.
He drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Portman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Belter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back. Officers recovered Belter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Belter's car, where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Belter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Portman. Now,
we already know about the charges. I just want to know if they have any more information for us.
Counts 3 and 4. I'm going to turn it over to Special Agent Alvin Winston from the FBI.
Special Agent!
Thanks, Joe. Good morning. My name is Alvin Winston, and I serve as the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Minneapolis Field Office, which covers the states of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. I want to begin by extending my deepest condolences to the families of the victims and to the community that has been shaken by this devastating act of violence. Our thoughts remain with those who are grieving.
Did he just say that he killed those 2 after the woman cop Yeah, after the woman cop had the encounter with him, he then went on to kill the 2 people, which, again, I was saying that the timeline of this is very, very weird. Because he goes to the first lawmaker's house, he shoots them, but doesn't ensure that they're dead, leaves, go to 2 other houses where the lawmakers are on vacation or otherwise not home. And this is after claiming that he had done extensive surveillance and extensive information gathering about these people's schedules and where they'd be. So why would he purposefully go to 2 houses if he had actually done the surveillance and written it down in notebooks? Why would he go there? Because he would know that they wouldn't be home if he had actually been doing good surveillance. And then the final home he goes to after he encounters the female police officer is where he shoots into the door, gets into the home, and then assassinates the other 2 politicians. The 2 politicians who are Democrats who stepped off the plantation and voted bipartisanly with Republicans to no longer give illegal immigrants access to public health care funding. That's very interesting. That's very interesting, the timeline of this entire event.
And all who have been impacted by this tragedy. Over the weekend, the people of Minnesota and the nation have been watching closely as this case has unfolded. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension provided a detailed update yesterday, so I won't repeat those specifics. This was a targeted attack against individuals who answered the call to public service. The FBI's role in moments like this is clear: to stand alongside our partners, bring federal resources, intelligence capabilities, and reach to the effort, not just to apprehend the individual responsible, but to understand the full scope of the threat. That work continues. This case became the largest coordinated manhunt in Minnesota's history.
It was 2 days.
We are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners across the state. No single agency could have done this alone. And because of that unified effort, a dangerous individual was taken into custody. Let me say this clearly. Political violence has no place in this country.
Correct. Assassinations on any side are fucking awful. Don't do them.
Focused on the work ahead and on ensuring justice is served. And with that, I'll hand it over to Drew.
Wasn't there also no Kings paperwork in the car? Yeah, these are the no Kings. Yeah, this just looks like blank-ass printer paper that he wrote no Kings on in Sharpie. So, I don't really know why he had these, or like what he was planning on doing, because like it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Photos of flyers inside the vehicle of the suspect in today's shooting. When did the no Kings thing pop up? I would like more information on that, actually. And then there was this retard finder guy. Retards had to change the theme from no kings to no tyrants because lefties in countries like the UK and Denmark love having a king. This Democrats Abroad website. We've changed the no kings theme of other events around the world to no tyrants so as not to mix messages in a country with a monarchy. We're also swapping out no crowns in favor of no clowns. Come dressed as a Trump clown, Donald Trump himself or one of his cronies. Think bad blonde wig, orange face, long red tie, or whatever gets your creative juices flowing. No kings! Unless they're a king we approve of. Very funny. Very interesting. No tyrants is so inclusive. Even Trump agrees. True. True, we love inclusivity. No tyrants allowed, man. No King's Day is actually July 4th when we kick the redcoats' ass. Throw their tea in the fucking ocean, man. What does the UK have to do with an American president? Don't ask too many questions. You'll get continuously confused. Bro. In America, we don't do kings. They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. These people live in a different fucking reality, man. Like, there have been no American citizens deported. Man, Euro leftists can't help but chase the coattails of the American masters. May we see these kings? Yeah, can we see the kings? As ICE raids escalate and Trump doubles down on authoritarian tactics, including politicizing the military, what? We're meeting the moment with action. The road ahead isn't just about one protest or one day. It's about building a movement powerful enough to win against authoritarian forces dead set on destroying our democracy. We're inspired by the 3.5% principle. It only takes 3.5% of the population engaging in sustained, strategic protest against authoritarianism to achieve significant political change. I don't think that's true. Everything we do from here on out is grounded in 3 core commitments: staying in the fight, taking concrete action today, and investing in the long term. No King's Day worked. We still have no king. A June 14th live stream. That guy looks like angry soy Ben Shapiro. You gotta be literally, the soy is running through your veins. Ben Shapiro doesn't even know you're supposed to get your wife wet. Come on now.
Our demonstration of moral strength is in opposition to the tyranny that threatens our very existence as a country. And this kind of gathering can unite us in a moral movement to save America. And we will not stand down, not now, not ever.
What? I want to know what his thing says Jesus was.
Because the truth is, when it comes to the need to stand up for the Constitution over a ruler who would ignore the courts, we are indivisible. When it comes,
Stephen Miller is a cuck. Why do these people want criminals to stay in the country so badly? Like, I just don't understand. What has to happen in your brain for you to do this and try to protect criminals? How do you get to this point? I don't understand it. Also, Destiny lookalike in the crowd right here. We got a Destiny lookalike. Why does he need to speak with this exact tone? He's doing the, like, TV preacher accent. Internet Zen Master, thank you. The 3-5 principle. Anyone else getting regime change vibes from that statement? We love that no matter what, they can only steal our words and fail to use them successfully. True. Synapse, thank you for that 50R, bro. Not only the 3.5% thing is true, violent protests need more than double the support to succeed. That was done studying successful Cold War and recent revolts back in 2010. If the 3.5% thing is true, is that why they clamped down so hard on shit on January 6th? Because, like, if I was going to protest, if I was going to bring my grievances with the government to the government, I would want to stage protests outside of government buildings and government offices. Not go into, like, people's cities and burn down citizens' businesses. If these... Oh god, is it that easy? Is it that easy if, like, a whole bunch of people just get paid to go protest? Are they just not even gonna care what they're protesting? They're not even gonna like think about, hey, why is giant corporation paying me money to go to this protest to try and protect criminals? They're not even gonna think about how this is being used as slave labor? Are you telling me that's not even something they're capable of? Big Corpo wants the slaves to burn down the mom and pop stores? I mean, obviously they do. But that's kind of really sad to think about, that these people lack that much ability to think, that they can be bought and paid for that easily.
To the need to repair breaches between
I want to
those
see what
who
this
have
preacher
healthcare
guy's
and
tie
those who
thing
don't.
says.
We are
Jesus was what?
indivisible.
What was Jesus?
When it comes to the conviction that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, we are indivisible. When it comes to our commitment that no child should go hungry in this, the richest nation in the world, we...
Are they American children? Because if they're not American children, they can get the fuck out and continue to not go hungry in their own countries. Not our responsibility. We are not a daycare for the entire fucking world. Get out.
We are indivisible. And when it comes to the central role of government to serve the people rather than to serve a king, we are indivisible. Now, might I close as a preacher? In the book of Daniel, in the Bible,
Probably says Jesus
there's
was an immigrant. People who've never read the Bible love to misrepresent it.
Shadrach, Meshach, and
Do you guys see this man's fit? He's like a fucking Batman villain. What the fuck is... Get some clothes that fit! What the fuck?
and Abednego, they were thrown into a fiery furnace for their refusal to bow. They refused to bow to a king that loved to put his
like
name
penguin
on buildings and ride around and make everybody bow
Yeah,
to
the
him.
DEI penguin.
They were thrown in, and they were not consumed, however, by the flames of
Badly
the furnace.
cosplaying Kingpin.
Instead, as they were thrown in, the people witnessed a
This land is your land. This land is my land. Save our democracy. Well, if you're not an American, it's not your land at all, and you have to get off of it legally. Get out.
fourth force come in and walk them through the fire. My fellow Americans, I stopped by this afternoon to remind you that when we tap into our moral power and refuse to bow, there is a greater power.
Oh my God, how
in the
long is he gonna
universe
talk? I just want to
that
see what's on his little thingy.
you that when the work is done, when we finish
The
organizing,
work!
when we've done praying and preaching,
He said
when we
the
finish
thing!
marching,
He said
when we
the
finish
activation
registering
phrase!
voters, when we finish our nonviolent action, I guarantee you, truth will win, justice will win, equality will win.
This is not a left or right moment, it is a right or wrong moment. Jesus Christ. We are the Fireflies and Trump is Fedra? What the fuck is that? Chat, is this like a pop culture reference? Is this another person that doesn't understand politics unless they relate it to some fucking normie show or movie? What the fuck is this? What is that? What is a Fedra? And what is this like Grave of the Fireflies? I don't know. Like, call me shit in the church heresy. The last of... There's no way. Firefly TV show? Is it from The Last of Us? Last of Us reference? Oh my god. Oh my god. I wish I could see who's holding that sign, but this pink-haired abomination is in front of it. Look at all the low-tier people. He just activated the male feminist. True. Battleizer, thank you. Seems to you that those in power have done their best to make useful mobs, failing to realize that the second you say something the mob doesn't like, they will eat you for dinner. Well, see, this is what Yuri Bezmenov was getting at. That these are the people who are the useful idiots. That can be bought, that can be lied to, that can be used as pawns to get those in power what they want. And once those in power have what they want by the oppressive use of these pawns against their political opponents, these are the people who will have the boot upon their neck. And these people will not realize that the utopia that they have been crying for, that they have been believed to, that they will be ushering in, will never exist. That it will be even more oppressive than what they thought they were fighting against. That they will become even more oppressed than previously thought, and they will not understand the kind of hell that they are marching towards until that boot is on their neck, because they cannot perceive it. They cannot understand that what they are doing is not just. They do believe that they are good people and that they are fighting for something larger than just themselves, and they cannot be convinced with any kind of factual evidence otherwise. They are completely propagandized. They won't know even then. So many glasses. They can't even perceive the breakfast.
This will win, and on that day we will truly be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
People
Stand.
over profit, says someone paid to be here.
Stand! Stand!
Hallelujah. Show me his scarf! I want to see what it says! Also, can I just say, it's kind of insulting to have the progressive pride flag flying right next to the American flag. Like, why the fuck is this at some official building? That's kind of fucking weird. That's kind of fucking strange, man. An ideological flag should not be flown with our country's flag. He even waddles like the penguin. Internet Zen Master, thank you. Right or wrong? Why is it always the damn right side of history shtick with these people? History has no side, you donuts. It just is. Because the more that you tell people, anyone who believes these things is a Nazi, and it's not only right to punch Nazis, but you have to do it, it's your moral duty, the more these people believe that they are fighting for something, again, just and correct, and that anyone against them is just an evil non-person. Like, they're so evil you can't even humanize them. And I guess there could be a bit of tinfoil where you go into, like, when people give up religion, they need something to believe in. And since a lot of these people are probably either the cucked version of Christians or some sort of atheist agnostic flavor, they have no real religion anymore. And so they put all of their faith into being a good person and fighting for good things. It doesn't matter if it's actually a good thing, as long as it sounds like a good thing.
Please give a warm Philadelphia welcome to Congressman.
If you think people pretend to be good people, you are a bad person, and you are telling on yourself. Sir, where exactly on the autism spectrum are you? Because if you move through your life thinking that no one has ever lied to make themselves look better, you are a fool of a ridiculous degree.
For the spirit of Philadelphia is the spirit of America. We've got no kings here. We've got no queens here.
Excuse me, what about all the yas queening that you guys do for Drag Queen Story Hour? Yeah, obviously we have queens. Jamie Raskin, congressman. So he's a MD, Maryland, a Democratic congressman. He looks real fucking greasy. He looks real fucking greasy. Like, he'd be the Weasley guy in the back of the pizza shop where the, like, mob boss is just like, yeah, we got another job and you're the most expendable, so you're gonna go do it. And if you complain about doing it, we're gonna expend you instead. Make guillotines great again? I don't know about that. Right, we don't, do not go that far. Violence not answer. He's a big bullshitter. Wonder what skeletons he has in his closet.
Got no emperors.
I feel like his microphone isn't working like the other guy.
Here. President Trump.
Where the fuck did the Palestinian flags come from? Were those there before? And I just didn't notice it? No, it just looks like American and pride flags. Where the fuck did the Palestine flags come from? They're like, oh, they brought out the Maryland fucking congressman. Time to break out the Palestine flags. What the fuck? What do the Palestine flags have to do with anything? The same reason in the LA riots, people were bringing up Palestinian flags, even though it had nothing to do with anything there.
Happy 79th birthday. Sorry we couldn't make it to your party, but we did pay for it.
What? What is he even talking about? Also, I got sent an image of the priest guy. It said, Jesus was a poor man. Man.
You are not our king, and we are not your subjects. We will never be your subjects.
Do you think that after this rally, he went home and jerked off incredibly hard to saying that to these people, that he knows he will always rule over in perpetuity? Because he is one of the elite ruling class on the Democrat side, and he knows that he can get away with lying to these people and how they're actually the slave chattel?
The people are sovereign, and we are all equal in the eyes of the law.
The people are return to sovereign citizens!
All of us.
I am not driving, I am traveling by the Articles of the Confederation.
Is nothing but bad graffiti on the Constitution, and we're gonna wash it off today.
The fuck is he talking about?
We've got no kings and we've got no slaves.
We will not choose fear. Fund SEPTA. The fuck is SEPTA? I don't know what that is. Fight normalization? I think the incredible irony of a bunch of Marxists at a protest saying fight normalization. One of the elite people has to be laughing their fucking asses off at that, dude. Look at the face of the guy holding the sign. I mean, I guess this woman could be holding the sign too, but it's closest to this guy. He just looks incredibly depressed. Look at that depression on his face. Look at this fucking specimen behind my hat. Look at this fucking specimen. He looks like a weird ass worm, dude. What is this? Are these even real people? SEPTA's a regional public transportation authority. What the fuck? Got no slaves as the party that demands illegal immigrants have rights and work at slave wages, right?
Got no masters and no serfs. Those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people. And the
politicians in the United States, both Democrat and Republican, have not been servants of the people in a very long time. And I think they constantly forget that they are supposed to be the servants of the people. Because a lot of these politicians, both Democratic and Republican, see themselves as some weird ruling class above all of us. They think that they play by different rules, and oftentimes they're allowed to play by different rules than the rest of us. And I would agree that it is time to end that. But I know that that is not what you were saying, dear Jamie Raskin.
The moment that somebody in public office begins to act like the master of the people, that is the moment to evict, eject, reject, impeach, try, convict, and start all over again.
You guys have tried impeaching like a million times. Like, when is it time to say, maybe we should stop looking like retards? And also, I agree, eject the illegal immigrants. They shouldn't be here. They don't get our tax dollars.
Under Article 1, President Trump, your job is simple: to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. That's it.
That's what he's doing.
In the monarchies, Tom Paine said, the king is the law, but in the democracies and the free societies, the law is king.
We're actually a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Owie! Ow!
You didn't get that memo, did you, Mr.
Bunker
President?
Cat stabbed my thigh.
You've been violating the law. You've been trampling the law. You've been ignoring the law, acting as if it's irrelevant to the only thing that matters, which is your own wealth and power.
Didn't Trump give up his presidential salary? Did he give it up for second term, or was it just first term he gave it up? I don't even know. I don't even know if he gave it up the second time. And yet you allow illegals. Yeah, he's enforcing the law unironically. This is first and second. Okay, so he did do it the second time even. Clearly here to enrich himself. Gives up presidential salary. He's ignoring the rogue judges. I mean, they've been super bitching about his crackdown on DEI for obvious reasons. And this is where I keep bringing it up. Like, it's a good thing he's trying to fight against it. But how do you fight against something legally when we have to play within the rules of the law and they don't? Because they just keep subverting language, and they can keep wiggling around anything he tries to pin them down with.
Thomas Jefferson were here, what if Abraham Lincoln were here? What would they say? They would say, cut it out. Stop violating the rights of the people. Stop trespassing on the powers of Congress. Stop staging provocations against the members of Congress and other parts of the government. Stop violating the orders of the courts. President Trump, your gangster state just threw Senator Padilla to the ground, kneeled on his back, and handcuffed him.
Man.
Your agents barged into Congressman Nadler's office and handcuffed and traumatized his young staffer. Your guys arrested a judge in Wisconsin. You indicted Representative LaMonica MacGyver from New Jersey on phony charges, and she now faces 17 years in prison. You're terrorizing American communities with masked men in unmarked cars arresting people without warrants.
Isn't that federal agents arresting people who are here illegally? Like, I genuinely don't understand. I don't understand, man. These guys are smooth brain energy.
You pardoned 1,600 felon rioters and insurrectionists who brutally injured 140 police officers on January 6, 2021.
Were there even that many injuries? Were there even that many injuries at January 6th? I don't remember that at all. I think this is the first time I've heard about that, and that thing has been paraded around for years now. When did that happen? Yeah, when did that happen? You're gonna need some proof of that. Yeah, I'm gonna need some evidence of that happening, man. What? Yeah, one death there, and it was one of the actual protesters being shot by police.
You're auctioning off pardons to Republican criminals in D.C. like they're selling cheesesteaks in Philadelphia.
I want cheesesteak.
You're a billion-dollar crypto king now who dropped dozens of charges against crypto scammers. And now you want to fly around on Bribe Force One, an illegal $400 million jumbo jet grift from the emirs of Qatar.
Don't all the presidents use Air Force One? What is he talking about? What is he talking about? I don't understand. Like, I know they got a new plane, but like, isn't Air Force One always used by the presidents? The hell is the schizo speaking of, and who the hell is he? This is the Democratic congressman from Maryland.
You sent the Marines to California. You hijacked the National Guard there. You threatened to seize the lawful power of the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, and the chief of police, and you threatened to send...
If the mayor and the governor aren't protecting their citizens, shouldn't he step in and do something? Like, why would he continue to let citizens be treated terribly? Like, I don't understand, man. They're still angry about the fucking plane, my god.
And heavy force to cities all over America this weekend to remind us of your love. But you know what? I don't see anybody trembling in Philadelphia today.
All right, he's crazy. What else do we have here?
Father-in-law Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of levels of love. The highest being agape. And the highest level is not
Greek.
Passive. It's a force that challenges systems, not just sentiments. That's the love that we need now.
12th grade students throughout the school year and beyond. And let's not forget our members in higher education. In a moment, I'll introduce my friend and sister in labor, Randy Weingarten, president of the AFT. But first, let me represent Philly for a minute.
On economic opportunity, they're going after equal opportunity, they're going after unions, because this current president sees us as a threat to his...
I like how she just said all of the things that have been wrong for years. Oh, the jumping lady.
Vision of America. He sees us as a threat because they believe in us versus them, and we believe in us, the people.
Excuse me, you guys have been pushing the us versus them for a very long time now. You can't just try and claim the victim once people have had enough and are tired of your shit. Let's see, what else have we got here? Who's this guy?
No kings, freedom. No kings, freedom. But as if Randy says, and she's right, that I know something about authoritarianism, the thing that I know is that it can only be fought together. So I'm going to say no kings, and I want to hear if there's anybody out there who can say freedom. No kings. Freedom. No kings. Freedom. No kings. Freedom. That's right.
This is creepy. This one says not a paid protester. Imagine having to hold a sign that says that because there are so many paid protesters.
Kings, we don't want fascists. We don't want oligarchs for very simple reasons. Those people cannot represent us. They are surrounded by the hirelings, by the minions, by the bootlicking billion.
And suddenly they are gone. That is not our America. And let me tell you something else. My presence here today, it wasn't guaranteed. When I was 2.5 years old, I was in a car accident that resulted in the amputation of my right leg. At that time, my family lived in Peru, and my mother made a courageous decision. She dreamed that her daughter would live a full life, and she believed the place where I could do that was right here in the United States of America.
What?
So we came. She started over, she cleaned houses, she cared for people's children.
Did she come here legally or illegally? Because, like, I don't give a fuck if your leg got amputated or not. If you came here illegally, like, you gotta go back. Not my problem. How many children around the world probably need to get limbs amputated every day? We can't take in every single person. Like, I don't understand what this story has to do with anything. Your leg isn't my problem.
She worked tirelessly so that her own children could have something more. My mother believed in an America that had room for her daughter's dream, and that welcoming America, her America, is why I stand before you today.
Yeah, if she came here legally, then yeah, it's very welcoming, and she should stay.
As a citizen, as a mother, as a fighter, as your partner in this struggle to build a country where everyone can live with dignity and thrive.
What does this have to do with anything? That was my question.
The America we're seeing unfold right now, it's a nightmare. And we have to name it for what it is. Not an aberration, but a strategy. This is the blueprint of authoritarianism, the violation of rights, the erosion of norms, the manufacturing of fear.
Hold on,
Veteran with common defense, Naveed Shah.
What? No kings. We the people said no in 1776. We're still saying no. I am at a loss for words. How do you even equivocate these two scenarios? How do you get there? How does this happen? Okay, who's this weird guy coming up now?
Political Director of Common Defense and an Army veteran. I'm honored to address you today on behalf of veterans everywhere.
Well,
you know, as a veteran, I swore an oath to the Constitution. Not to a person, not to a political party, and especially not to a king.
Wonder how much he got paid. Yeah, that's crazy to see a veteran
Donald
up here.
Trump thinks his rule is absolute, but in America, we have no kings. I'm a veteran of the war in Iraq, where I served 15 years ago. When I was there in March of 2010 was when Iraq held their second ever national election. For many young Iraqis, it was their first time ever casting a ballot. For once, the insurgents weren't not targeting the American soldiers like me who were providing security. They were targeting their own people who were simply trying to exercise their fundamental right to vote.
How'd that work out?
In that moment, the sanctity of our rights became clear to me, and I promised never to take them for granted. So when I saw what happened in Washington at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, I was more than just shocked and appalled. I was scared. I was scared for what could happen to our country if we allowed the big lie to continue to fester, for what would happen if insurrectionists took power. And unfortunately, we're seeing that play out right now. Recent events in Los Angeles have made it evident it's necessary now more than ever for us to stand up against authoritarianism.
We have filed more than 100 lawsuits since the inauguration to challenge their extreme, cruel, and illegal actions.
It's not illegal just because you say it's illegal, and also, man, this woman has an insufferable voice.
And we are winning, and we are not slowing down. We worked with governors and attorneys general and mayors all across the country to pass policies that serve as a firewall against the president's overreach. We packed town
of you that we are not alone. Just look at
This is a representative from Georgia.
When my community had pushed me to run for office, and for those who don't know, I kind of got bullied into this, I knew I wouldn't be doing it alone. And it was because of them that I had the courage to do this. But now that I'm in it, I see all the
Georgia, the one near Azerbaijan? I mean, it must be, right?
And look, I get it. I was talking with some friends last night about the state of the world, and I told them about how, as someone who's on the inside, the thing that keeps me up at night is to see all of those opportunities that if more people had just shown up, we could have made a huge difference. And here's the thing. They rightfully said, look, there's so much cynicism. People are tired of the corruption. And I get it. I totally get it. But hear me when I say to you today.
No crown for the clown.
Those who actually engage in that corruption want nothing more than for us to leave them alone. They want us to turn away. They want our cynicism to convince us into inaction. But I'm not going anywhere, and neither should any of you.
You love the tacosh in the thumbnails. Thank you. I love Taco Tuesday. White woman
Andre
spotted.
Hernandez-Romero,
Thank you, Dante's
a gay
Inferno.
stylist who was just looking for a better life. He was doing everything.
Look
the
at this
government
gaggle
asked
on
him
her
to
shirt.
be here. However, one day Trump disappeared him, and many like him without cause or due process. If Trump thinks that he can erase us, then we've got news for him. We will show up for our LGBTQ plus community in court, in the halls of Congress, throughout our local communities, and here in the streets. We are not going anywhere, and despite how he acts, this country...
Oh, hold on. I wanted to pause on that sign.
We are not going anywhere.
Fund Medicaid. Fund scientific research. Fund DEI initiatives. Fund affordable housing. Not genocide. What the fuck is this person talking about? How curious. How interesting. Is there anything else? There's a white guy down here.
And when Donald Trump says, I want to take food away from hungry people in America, we say no.
When the fuck has Trump said, I want to take food away from hungry people? When has that been part of the platform? He never said that. Oh yeah, BGM is on. Fuck me. When did he say that? Like, I don't even know what they could possibly be talking about here. When he cut Snap? When people were using Snap to buy, like, sodas and then, like, trade shit? Source, I made it the fuck up. He was probably talking about supported if it's taking food away from fats. Jesus Christ. This protest is about as organic as Monsanto's seeds. Internet Zen Master, thank you. Trump can't replace us. Oh, when the Wi-Fi password community says it, it's fine, but when the glowies do it, it's a problem. What the fuck? Thraza, thank you. Maybe he said it to Rosie O'Donnell. Jesus Christ, who's this thing?
the National Guard to California. Donald Trump is sending tanks to D.C. so that he can have the birthday party that he's always wanted.
What?
$45 million for this birthday parade. Did anyone ask for this? Meanwhile, they're telling us that there is no money for social
To be fair, he probably shouldn't be spending that much money on a birthday party if that's happening. Like that seems kind of excessive. Kind of like, why would you do that, my guy?
security. There is no money. There's no money for Medicaid.
It's 45 million of private okay, if it's private funding, then who fucking cares? If it's not our tax dollars, he can do whatever the fuck he wants with private funds.
There is no money for veterans. That there's no money for special education.
It was for the 250th birthday of the military or some shit. Oh, so it wasn't even Trump's birthday? It was a military anniversary? And it was privately funded. Privately funded for the military's anniversary. So this woman is literally just spouting fucking nonsense then. That's actually insane. This bitch is just retarded. Holy shit. Holy fuck. The U.S. Army was founded on the 14th of June, 1775. It was also Trump's birthday. Oh, God. Never let an opportunity to spew lies and create a narrative pass you by, as it were. How do they wrap up this No Kings event here? What's the end look like? She's talking about the military celebration that was starting to be paid for and set up for over 10 years and didn't use government funds. Oh, wow. Lots of funding. Thank you, Joe Masks.
Movement for liberty and justice for all. We are stronger than the forces seeking to divide us. There are more of us than there are of them. Together, we will win. One last time, how many kings? How many kings? I'll see you on Monday.
Actual insanity. Actual insanity that these protests exist. On June 14th, Flag Day, President Trump wants tanks in the street and a made-for-TV display of dominance for his birthday. A spectacle meant to look like strength, but real power isn't staged in Washington. It rises up everywhere else. No Kings is a nationwide day of defiance, from city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to community parks. We're taking action to reject authoritarianism and show the world what democracy really looks like. We're not gathering to feed his ego. We're building a movement that leaves him behind. The flag doesn't belong to President Trump. It belongs to us. We're not watching history happen. We're making it. On June 14th, we're showing up everywhere he isn't to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Well, also, he can't have a third term. So, I mean, like, I don't know what they mean by, like, leaving him behind. He's not going to get elected again. Like, this is it, man. Like, and again, they're doing the thing.
What the hell is this spicy cat
They're saying that the thing is for his birthday when it's for the military. That's crazy. A core principle behind all No King events is a commitment to nonviolent action. We expect all participants to seek to de-escalate any potential confrontation with those who disagree with our values and to act lawfully at these events. Weapons of any kind, including those legally permitted, should not be brought to events. And agreed. Agreed. I mean, I guess we didn't see any violence from the No King stuff, so that's good at least. It was better than the LA riots, to my knowledge. Feel free to prove me wrong if something happened, because I was busy with Fish Tank this weekend. One guy did in fact get killed at Fish Tank or the riot. This was in Utah. The No Kings protest in Salt Lake City was struck by violence when a man allegedly brandished a rifle near the crowd, prompting a volunteer for the event to fire 3 shots, hitting the man and a protester who later died, according to police and event organizers. Arturo Gamboa, 24, never shot his rifle, but was arrested on a murder charge and accused of creating the dangerous situation Saturday that led to the death of protester Arthur Folasa Alu, police said. The investigation includes whether the man who shot Gamboa and Alu was justified in firing his gun. Questions remain over why Gamboa was carrying a rifle and what he intended to do with it. Protest organizers said late Monday that the person who confronted him was a volunteer on a safety team that was supposed to help maintain order during the demonstration. The permit for the protest did not specify that there would be armed security, police said. The role and responsibilities of event staff are being investigated. Here's what is known so far about the shooting. Hundreds of protesters were marching through downtown Salt Lake City on Saturday when around 8 p.m., two men said they spotted Gamboa, who was wearing all black clothing, move behind a wall and then withdraw a rifle from a backpack, according to a news release from police. Yeah, that's fucking shady. That's fucking shady. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? The two men drew their handguns and ordered Gamboa to drop the rifle, but witnesses said the young man instead moved towards the crowd and held his rifle in a firing position. I mean, without having seen the video, I don't know what happened, but if this account is true, right, allegedly, if this account is true, I would say that the people who drew their pistols did it in defense of not only themselves, but also the crowd. One of the two men shot 3 rounds, hitting Gamboa and Alu. Gamboa's wound was relatively minor, and he was arrested by police nearby, who found a rifle, gas mask, and backpack in the area. Alu died after being taken to a hospital. Police said they don't yet know why Gamboa carried a rifle or disobeyed the orders from the two men. The Associated Press could not immediately find attorneys listed for Gamboa or contact information for his family in public records. And this is why, when I watch riot streams and there are streamers who go down there and who live stream stuff on the ground so we can see what's happening, they might not be journalists, they might not be reporters, but I still always hope that they stay safe, right? Like everybody always feels like, oh, the police won't do anything, but it's not always the police you have to be worried about. It's other people on either side of the spectrum here that could just end up going fucking crazy. You don't know the mental illnesses the people around you have. You don't know if someone is going to go crazy and bring a gun here to do bad things. You don't know if someone in the crowd has already brought any kind of weapons to do bad things. And so like whenever I'm watching those streamers, like I just hope that they stay safe and that nothing bad happens to them being like a bystander. You never know with these things. Yeah, like I think it's very dangerous to go to these kind of protests, and I would really not advise anyone to go to them. Because like I feel like only bad things can happen. But again, I very much appreciate the streamers that do and that keep themselves safe and that get out information to all of us by broadcasting so we can see with our own eyes instead of having to rely on a faulty media narrative. The man and a second person who confronted Gamboa wore neon green vests, and one of them later described himself as, or two investigators, as a peacekeeper. Their identities have not been publicly released. That one's weird. Police said Monday the term peacekeeper was not a formal designation recognized by the Salt Lake City Police Department, adding that there were no indication that the men were current or former members of law enforcement. Protests often have safety teams, sometimes called safety marshals, that help keep order during a demonstration. Utah 50501, which helped organize the demonstration, said the person who confronted Gamboa was a military veteran, but did not give further details on the person's training or explain why he was armed. Our team of safety volunteers who have been selected because of their military, first responder, and other relevant de-escalation experience believed there was an imminent threat to the protesters and took action. For the No Kings protest, all attendees, including those in safety roles, were asked not to bring weapons, said Sarah Parker, a national coordinator for the 50501 movement. Alu was a successful fashion designer and former Project Runway contestant who devoted his life to celebrating artists from the Pacific Islands. Benjamin Powell, a friend of Alu, said the designer was born in Samoa but lived in Utah for about a decade. Alu, who is a self-taught designer known to many as Afa, devoted his life to doing good things for his neighbors and community. State Rep Verona Mwaga, a close friend, told the Associated Press. Their families were from the small village of Latopa in Samoa. The 39-year-old leaves behind a wife and 2 young children, according to a GoFundMe page for his family. If I'm married and a guy I'm with says, I'm going to go to this protest where these people who are known for engaging in violence are also going to be, I would be like, the hell the fuck you are? You have children to take care of. The fuck you think you're doing? You're not in your early 20s anymore, Ralph. Get the fuck back in the house. Take your baklava off. You're not going out tonight. Like that, the duty of the wife is to prevent the man from making dumb mistakes. BRB might die and leave you alone forever. Yeah, right? Ralph is a goofy name. And she let him go to his grave. Like, that's part of the wife's job. Like, when your husband's like, I'm gonna do something so inconceivably stupid it might get me killed. That's when you step in and you're like, no, actually you're not. And Powell said he and Alu were working on upcoming August fashion show, which Powell will now honor Alu's unwavering commitment to his community. FBI Los Angeles, we're currently tracing money to determine who is providing funding for these riots.
Hello, I'm Bill Asaley, United States Attorney for the Central District of California.
And I'm Akil Davis, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office.
And I'm Tyler Hatcher, the Special Agent in charge of IRS criminal investigation here in Los
I like how they're all roughly the same height. It makes this very visually pleasing.
Angeles.
The right to assemble and protest peacefully is protected by law. Unfortunately, we have seen individuals whose intentions are to cause damage and to assault law enforcement. For example, last week we arrested an individual who was charged with conspiracy to commit and aiding and abetting civil disorders. These violent agitators put peaceful demonstrators at risk.
The FBI and our federal partners will continue to investigate individuals and organizations who are knowingly funding or committing acts of violence against law enforcement, as well as the destruction of property.
We are currently tracing money to determine who is providing funding for these riots. Funding crime doesn't just affect the criminals, it also disrupts entire communities. Each dollar funneled into illegal operations fuels violence, undermines law and order, and perpetuates fear. Make no mistake, we will identify and disrupt financial networks supporting these criminal activities.
Good, that's what I like to see.
Before you act. The legal consequences for financing or aiding and abetting these crimes are harsh.
Oh, fuck.
They include imprisonment and fines.
If you have any information regarding individuals and/or organizations providing financial support to commit acts of violence,
thank you guys for the blessings. Thank you.
Or destruction of property, please dial 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit tips.fbi.gov. You can also upload your images and videos to fbi.gov/LA officer assault.
If you see something, say something.
Will continue to safeguard constitutionally protected rights, but we will not tolerate assaults on law enforcement, destruction of property, or any violent acts that puts the community in harm's way.
We've been so used to seeing the people who get violent get off scot-free or even have their bails paid for by politicians and celebrities that sure, it's good to hear, but it's just lip service to me until the violent people actually start getting arrested. Right? I just want to see people who try to bring violence actually get arrested and actually face consequences. That is the only way you're going to stop violence at these riots, is if there are actually consequences for the firebombs, for anything else that they're bringing to do damage with. It was like pallets of fucking bricks or some shit again.